With that intro done, we can do this now. Here we go. Get these rules down. The rules for solving equations. Rule 1. Remove the fraction. I know y'all hate fractions. I'm going to show you how to remove fractions. But I'm going to tell you how first. You remove fractions by multiplying both sides by the LCD. What does LCD mean? Least common denominator. There you go. Multiplying both sides by the least common denominator. All right? Rule 2. I'm not going to teach you how to do that right now. We're going to take our time with that one. Rule 2. Remove parentheses. All right? How did I show you? What do they call when you move parentheses? What property is that? There you go. That is the distributive property. All right? So when you have to remove parentheses, you are using the distributive property. All right? Rule 3 is 6 of these. Rule 3. Combine like terms. This is what I mean by that. On the equal sign, you're going to have like terms on one side, and you can have like terms on the other side. Don't go across. You just can't go across now. If you have 3x plus 4x over here, go on, give me 7x. They on the same side. If you have 5 plus 8 over here, go on, give me 13. But don't go across here. That's not combining like terms. Combining like terms when you have like terms on the same side. All right? Now, what we're going to start in this class. Now, if you're good now, I'm going to let you all loose on the other one. But this one right here, regular test stuff. Rule 4 is going to be gather the variable terms. To one side. All right? Get out. If you got 3x's on one side, 4x on the other side of the equal sign, get them all on one side. It's like going to the club with one shoe on. Get them all on one side. All right? Rule 5. Rule 5 is isolate the variable term. So you're going to get the variable term by itself. And the last rule, rule 6, isolate the variable itself. All right? Rule 6 is where you end. So for us, it is where we're going to start. We're going to start at rule 6 and move up. All right, here we go. Rule 6 looks like this. 12 equals 3k. All right? Now, let's look at rule 4. Rule 4 says gather the variable term. It's already on one side. Rule 5, isolate the variable term. Well, my variable term already on the side by itself. Rule 6, get the variable by itself. Is the variable by itself right now? Is k by itself? Who you got to move? 3 is a what? Coefficient. How did we say you move a coefficient? That's the only way you can move that. Don't try to add and subtract. That's a coefficient. The way you can separate that is with division. Whatever you do on one side, you do to the other side. The 3 is going to cancel. K is what? What's 12 divided by 3? You can say 4 equals K or K equals 4. It does not matter. They mean the same thing. I know you're right. If I plug in that 4 to that problem, what's 3 times 4? Ain't that what it said? All right, let's do it again. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Negative 5m equals 20. All right? Just looking. The variable term is isolated. Variable term means your Variable term is on the side by itself. The constant term is separate. They're in two different rooms, so we're good. But it says isolate the variable. Who is the variable? Who we need to move? -5 is a what? How do you move a coefficient? So you divide by what? When you divide, you keep the same sign. You divide by negative. You divide by what you see. The property of equality says that whatever I do to one side, I got to do to the other side. What these -5s going to do? Cancel out. You're left with m is equal to -4. If anybody don't know why, it's because a positive divided by a negative going to leave you a what? You use a triangle. Positive at the top. Positive divided by negative, leave a negative. All right? Let's do it again. Let's do it again. All right? Negative W equals -462. Now, is our variable by itself? Somebody there. They trying to hide, but they there. It's a -1 right there. Don't let them hide on you now. If you need to, draw him. -1 right there. Now, you see the coefficient of what? What's the coefficient? -1. How do you remove a coefficient? By what? So how you divide that? Divide by -1 on both sides. Now the two negatives going to cancel out. And W is equal to what? Y'all scared when y'all see 100? Well, what's a negative and a negative? Yeah, so that's 462. All right. Try this one right here. Try that one. Get R by itself. Tristan, you got it, man? Tristan, you got it? What downstairs? How, what you do? Divide both sides by 4. You're trying to get R by itself, right? And when R equals a -4. Good. Because you put -16 divided by 4. You put it in the calculator or do it by hand. That's the first step we learn. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's try. Let's see, I got a couple. X plus 2 equals -4. All right, now, here we go. In this problem, we just start off at the top, at rule 4. When they say gather variable terms, I mean you got x's on both sides of the equal sign or numbers on both sides, which we don't. Rule 5 says get your variable term by itself. What's our variable term in this case? 1x, right? X. Is 1x on the side by itself?
No.
Who over there with it? That constant 2 is over there. So it ain't by itself. So rule 5 says get that x by itself first. How do you remove a constant term? What does it say by doing what? What does it say? And the opposite, right? So if that's a +2, you're going to do what? -2. Or you can say -2 on both sides. It don't matter. The x come down. Equal sign, that cancels. You moved it, it's gone. What we got? Remember now, you lost 6 yards on one play. You lost 2 yards on one play. It ain't going to be positive. Now, you're at a loss now. You lost what? You lost 6, right? Right? Yeah. All right. Don't let that part kill you now. That's why these tests worth more, take into account all that. Now, let's do it again. All right. What is we gonna do? Who we trying to get by ourselves? Who over there with the P? What is -5? It's a constant, right? How we move a constant? By doing what? So we got to move that -5 by doing what? Add 5 to both sides. All right. Add 5 to both sides. They both like terms. What we get? I know you're right, because 22 minus 5 equals 17. Now, if you think your job is you're going to be plugging in numbers to figure out how to get both of them right, you're going to be messing up, because these problems get long. Use this to find your skills now. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. All right, let's do... all right, here we go. Look at this problem. Before you can divide by, that's the last step, try to divide by a coefficient. You can't start there. The first thing you got to do is to make sure your -5k is by itself. That's the first thing. Before you can get the variable term by itself, you got to get the variable, before you get the variable by itself, you got to get the variable term by itself. All right? So if you look at this problem, if I'm trying to get my variable, first I'm trying to get k by itself. That's at the end of the day. At the end of the day, I'm trying to get k by itself. I got a coefficient and a constant term. You can't start off with dividing. You can't isolate that variable. Get rid of that 15 first. All right? Isolate the variable term. Get -5k by itself. How you move that 15? By doing what? So that's 15. You're going to do what? Yeah, -15. Whatever you do on one side, you what? The other side. That's a property of equality. You get -45 on this side. Equal sign always comes down. If you move that 15, it's gone. What's left? That's what I get scared for, like Zoe and Jacob. That's when I get scared for y'all. Because I want you to know when you cross that out, that whole thing comes down. -5k. Same thing, Camacho. When that's gone, that whole thing comes down. I ain't calling, I'm just trying to make sure, you know what I'm saying, y'all see what I see. All right? It ain't just y'all, but I'm just saying. All right? Now, after we isolate, now your variable term is separate from your, that means isolate. He is now isolated from your constant term. Your next step is to get the variable by itself. Who's on the same side with the variable now? The k is a variable. Who on the same side with the k? -5. What is -5? What is he? A coefficient. You only remove a coefficient by doing what? You divide by that exactly. Don't change those signs. You divide. You're left with k is equal to 45 divided by 5 is 9. A negative divided by a negative is a positive. A -108 minus m equals 3. All right? Now, what you gonna do? You trying to get who by itself? M by itself. Who need to move though? -108 got to go. All right, how we gonna get it to go? Anytime you want to go across this equal sign, if you got a constant term, it's adding the opposite. All right? So if it's a variable term, it's adding the opposite. So we're going to add 108 to both sides. All right? Some of y'all skip steps when you work by yourself, and it eats you up every time. I see it on your test. You just would have spelled it out. You'd have been fine. But you try to go too fast. Anyway, let's do it. 108 plus 3 is what?
111.
All right? What's wrong with this problem? It ain't done yet.
You actually divide by 1 here.
Yeah.
Divide by -1.
We don't want negative M. We want regular M. And what number is that behind that negative? What number is that?
1.
It's a 1, right? So our coefficient is what?
1. Negative 1.
Our coefficient is negative 1. So whenever you want to remove the coefficient, you divide by that coefficient. So the final answer is M is equal to what? Come on. Come on. Come on. Negative 111. Y'all got too quiet. As a positive divide by, I don't care if it's a billion. If that's negative, if one positive, one negative, the whole answer is negative. Let's try.